Was Bitcoin created by the CIA? Well, Tucker Carlson believes so. Really, Tucker Carlson? All those conversations you had with Michael Saylor, you think Bitcoin was created by the CIA? Or maybe Tucker Carlson is a CIA asset. Hi, my name is Graham Elwood, the Bitcoin Vigilante. You're watching. Support our show there or right there below. But let's get it. Tucker Carlson, like, it's fascinating. This guy has said a lot of crazy stuff, right-wing stuff, but lately he's been calling out Trump. He worked on Trump's campaign, and now he's calling him out mainly for the Epstein thing. Him and Marjorie Taylor Greene are like, in certain issues, are outlefting the Democrats, but he's had Michael Saylor on his show. Max Kaiser, I believe, has been on his show. So he's talked to these people that are very knowledgeable about Bitcoin, and yet he had this to say about it in a recent talk that he gave. It's perplexing, which when someone does stuff like this, that's when I feel like they're a CIA asset. Like Tucker's a CIA asset.
Do you invest in Bitcoin? Do you think it's like a viable asset to invest in?
Man, I don't want to make more enemies. I mean, you want the real, it's my last answer, but you want the actual answer?
Yeah, sure.
And here's why. I spoke at the Bitcoin conference actually last year. I've spoken at a couple of Bitcoin conferences. I love the idea of Bitcoin because I love the idea of financial autonomy. I don't want what I buy or sell to be tracked. I don't want my money to be tracked. It's nobody's business. I pay my taxes. I've never cheated on my taxes. I've been very tempted, but I never have one time cheated on my taxes. And once the money's mine, like I can do what I want with it. And if you find me breaking the law, arrest me. But if you don't, it's none of your beeswax, as the kids say. So I love the idea of the blockchain. I knew some of the people involved in that whole thing. And I still believe in that promise, okay? Roger Ver, for example. I don't know how closely you follow this, but like there are people who still believe in that. But it turns out that it is not, to this point, been, I hope it will be, a way to conduct financial transactions privately at all. And that really freaks me out. I'm really afraid of a digital currency because that is totalitarian control. If you can punish people, if you can zero out their bank account and keep them from eating, you will have total obedience. But that's totalitarian. And I know that young people love crypto because they've been completely screwed in the job market and there are no financial opportunities for most of them. And they know they're staring down a life of, if not poverty, certainly a step down from the way they grew up, most young people. And so Bitcoin for them, crypto in general for them, is a promise of like, how can I make it in this world? Like, I would like to have a normal life. How can I do that? And crypto is a way they think that they can. And I'm praying for them. I hope that's true. But I fear that it will become like so many other things in our country, a scam of sorts, run by a coalition of the financial beneficiaries, like the few people who are getting all the winnings, and the politicians they control who use it to further their control of American society. I'm really worried about that. And so I'll just be totally bummed with you. I'm a gold buyer, and I've been vindicated big time in that. And everyone's like, oh, you're crazy buying gold. Yeah. You know, it was good enough for the Phoenicians. It's good enough for me. And I, in general, don't get involved in anything I don't understand. I think that's a really good rule. There's some things I think I understand. Turns out I didn't understand them. But in general, I try to limit myself to things I understand. And nobody can explain to me who Satoshi was, the creator of Bitcoin, this mysterious guy who apparently died, but nobody knows who he was.
He's not dead.
I grew up in D.C. primarily, in a government family. So CIA. That's my guess. I can't prove it. But like, you're telling me to invest in something whose founder is like mysterious and has billions of dollars of unused Bitcoin. Like, what is that? And no one can answer the question, including some of the biggest holders of Bitcoin in the world who I know personally. They're like, oh, it doesn't matter. It matters to me. Right?
Okay. So let's talk about that. I mean, I'll give the guy credit. I mean, he's bringing up some valid points in terms of, first of all, I don't think Bitcoin was created by the CIA. And I understand somebody going, well, if I don't know who Satoshi is, then I don't like that. Well, I think Bitcoin, and I've heard several other people who have said this, who worked in the NSA, say that Satoshi was a NSA cryptographer. And was it one person? Maybe it's a group of people. We don't know. But and that's this is the simple thing when people, and I'll give him credit for Tucker for saying he doesn't understand it. So if you don't understand it, you shouldn't invest in anything. And I firmly believe that too. But you have to read the white paper. Why I don't think the CIA created it is because it's untraceable, untrackable, and all that other stuff. So the CIA would absolutely be involved in central banking digital currencies. And his fear of the CBDCs, we're all afraid of that. We all get on the USDC, and again, they can just freeze your bank account because you protested against a politician that is in power. And that's not just Trump doing that. That's Biden. That's whomever, or any politician can just say, I mean, you know, look, Occupy Wall Street protesters were targeted by the Obama administration. So that anybody can be targeted. And the concern, a lot of people in the Bitcoin community are like, if Bitcoin just becomes a store of value, it just becomes digital gold, then its true purpose, if you read the white paper, its true purpose is so that we can exchange it. Your wallet to my wallet without anybody knowing, and without the government coming in and trying to tell us what to do with it or tax it. Then mainly the thing that really appeals to me about Bitcoin is it's helping people that are unbanked in developing countries who don't have access to traditional banking, but everybody's got a cell phone. You know, there's something in the neighborhood of 2.5 to 3 billion people on planet Earth that do not have access to traditional banking. Just spending time here in Thailand, you know, and some of the cabbies and stuff, you know, there's a it's not Venmo, but it's a thing like that here, and you can just do a QR code right to somebody's bank account here. But some of the cab driver, whatever, the tuk-tuk drivers, those little like scooters things that can have 3 or 4 people in them. I was told a lot of those guys, they can only accept cash because they've gotten into some trouble financially and they can't get access to a Thai bank. So there's a lot of people operating. A lot of the street vendors are operating in solely a cash economy, and Bitcoin could really benefit them. I saw people being benefited in El Salvador, although a lot of the people in El Salvador are benefiting from it. Some of them are having to just immediately sell their Bitcoin to pay their bills or whatever. So if the promise of Bitcoin is not met, which is we can do transactions around the world without paying big fees, without, you know, government interference, then the goal of Bitcoin is not being achieved, and it's just an asset class like gold or fine art or something like that. The advantages of it over gold are obviously you can't travel with gold bars. You can't just get on a plane and go with gold bars, where Bitcoin, you can take it anywhere. So I don't think this was, because if it was created by the CIA, there would be all of these things already, like many of the other cryptocurrencies and the CBDCs, those seem very sort of state operated, or there's a good saying, if your favorite altcoin has a CEO, it's not decentralized. Bitcoin is the only one that's truly decentralized. So, and I don't know, Tucker Carlson, maybe he's a CIA asset. So it would behoove the CIA. This is exactly what the CIA would do. I can't prove that Tucker Carlson's a CIA asset, but what the CIA would do is they would absolutely he's been working in Fox News for 20 some years. So he was in the propaganda machine. Fox is part of the propaganda machine, as is CNN and MSNBC. They're all the same. Anybody who thinks Fox is telling the truth or MSNBC is telling the truth and Fox is propaganda, I always say that's all propaganda, but whatever. He's been in that machine, and then he leaves that machine, and because he already has a pre-existing audience, it's easy for him to just say, like, if I was a big TV guy at a TV show, or I was a late night talk show host, and then I left that, I got fired or whatever, I left for whatever reason and just started a podcast, I would immediately have millions of people watching my podcast because I would already just have this existing audience, which he was able to do. And, it's been interesting watching him. He supports Trump a year ago. Now he's being critical of him. Him and Marjorie Taylor Greene are being very critical of the Epstein stuff, of Trump covering up the Epstein stuff. But this is exactly a CIA playbook thing, is to have some sort of plant asset like Tucker Carlson to then, what the CIA is very good at is creating dissension. They put someone right in the middle of some cause who seems like he's really down and he's one of us. And then he goes, I don't know, man. And all you need is just 10, 20% of a movement splintering, fracturing. And then you have, that's what the CIA has done since its inception. They've done that throughout other countries. The FBI has done it in activist movements in the United States since the 50s and 60s. So is he a CIA asset? I don't know, but this is what the CIA does. So some of the things he said in that speech, I was like, oh, I see that point. I see that point. And then CIA grew up in DC. Yeah, you grew up in DC, Tucker. Your dad is a lifelong politician. So you easily would have been groomed, and you would have loved, as a pro-American, Reagan Republican, you guys get wet over the CIA. So you would have loved if the CIA would approach you. You'd say, yeah, I'd love to be in the CIA. You guys love that crap. So follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. If you don't want to buy Bitcoin, man, that's cool. It's your thing. Don't do it. If you don't feel safe or don't do it. I'm a Bitcoin owner, and for him to go on, he had Michael Saylor on his show. You watch the full interview with Michael Saylor. He talked for like an hour. So that's, if the one thing he's just like, nobody knows Satoshi is, so I don't trust it. Okay, that's fair. But to throw in the CIA thing, that's where it's like, wait a minute, my CIA asset radar went up. That's all I'm saying. People said, Graham, maybe you were one. Well, I'm not getting any. I've lost all my money and my power, and I have no power and influence. So he has power and influence. Anyone with a huge following, you have to ask. Anyone who got catapulted and put into a position of on camera, anyone who just started a YouTube channel and just boom, it went right to the moon. They had hundreds of thousands and millions of followers in a short amount of time. You have to wonder. I've been throttled and censored 6 ways from Sunday. So I'm being censored right now. The CIA, if I was helping the CIA, there's no way they would censor me. Look at Government Secrets. We've been critical of the CIA from the jump. And that podcast, we've been doing it for 5 years, and it's still just like barely anybody knows about it. If the algorithm was true and just, and it was just put this on social media, put this on iTunes, put this on YouTube, and just let the audience, Lee and I would both have millions of followers, because our message resonates with so many people, how the government is corrupt, which is what Tucker Carlson's message is. But his message is sort of packaged in I don't trust the government. But he was a right-wing pundit on Fox News making an 8-figure salary for years. Again, you don't get put on TV. Jimmy Kimmel, Tucker Carlson, Rachel Maddow. I think they're all the same. They're all part of that same machine to push certain agendas and to keep people divided. Be a team red or team blue. He was on team red. So ask a lot of questions. That's what I do. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. That's how we make Gotham great again. Buy Bitcoin. It's not financial advice. That's what I would do, because the markets are crashing, but shave your knuckles for justice. Boom.